This is your chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Testing. No.
Just give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me loud and clear now. I'm seeing it working through the board. Look at me troubleshooting. Just send me a thumbs up if you're getting me through, if you're hearing me without any issues. Let me just kill that music there for a little bit too. There we go. Just give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me. Yeah. Okay. Good. Look at me troubleshooting in the background and even put on some music. Hope you were tapping your feet. What do you know? Look at me. Hearing you and the mic. Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness. Look at me troubleshooting. Boy, if you could, Lord have mercy. Thank you, Jesus, is all I can say. Oh, well, welcome. Good evening, one and all. Yes, good morning, good night to everybody. Thank you for your patience. I don't know what was going on with the board there, but it just goes to show that I don't bust a sweat anymore when this happens. It's real, and whatever it was, I tried to do what I had to do. So thank you for sticking and staying with me here this evening as we went through those little technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. Everything is perfect. I got everything lined up. But such is life. We just navigate through it. But welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and yes, inspiration takes center stage. I am Sabrina, your host, and we're broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands every Monday to Friday from 5 until 7. You can comment live from whatever platform you're streaming us from, and you can also join in live on this podcast by calling 345-936-8255. You can weigh in on whatever topic we're discussing, because it is summer. I know a lot of you are traveling, and we tend to do it a little bit more. I want to say freestyle, but as content creators, we still need to have content. So should you see a topic that we're posting and you're seeing, that there's something else that you would want to discuss, or maybe something that you want to revisit, of course, it's open mic as well. We just ask you, please, to honestly be respectful at all times. But you know what? Special hello to everyone tuning in from our beautiful districts. Yes, I'm talking from our capital, Georgetown, West Bay, Buttontown, East End, Northside, and yes, the sister islands, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. I am getting your messages. I'm getting your positive vibes and feedback. And yes, you are never forgotten. You're always included. But yes, today we are going to look at the rise of micro-entrepreneurship here in the Cayman Islands. But this, as I said, is not just only about that topic. We are going to explore based on it being an open mic. And if you so choose to bring up something else, we'd be more than happy to entertain and take a pause, digress a little bit, and entertain you, because it is about your voice, your experience, your concerns, your ideas here that's also playing part of our very own home in Cayman's future. So I encourage you to settle in, grab a beverage, maybe tea, or maybe a little adult thing. I don't know, whatever you're doing, because this is an open mic segment. And to everyone who's at home and feeling moved and you want to give us your perspective, like I said, the phone lines are open, 345-936-8255 to join in and jump in on the conversation. Now, please remember that the views expressed here by callers, guests, and online commenters are their own and not those of Bridge Media Limited, its affiliates, or the Sabrina Speaks show. This program is for general information only and not a substitute for legal, medical, financial, or professional advice. All the participants are reminded to speak responsibly and respectfully, and any content that is discriminatory, defamatory, unlawful, or harmful is strictly prohibited and will not be endorsed or tolerated. Listener participation implies acceptance to disclaimer. Please continue to like. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm seeing all of the newcomers for liking, following, and sharing the page with your friends. And that's for two reasons. One, you're always notified. And two, you never miss an episode as we continue to build this space here, one episode at a time. Now let's making up for some lost time as we have those technical difficulties there. And let's see what's in store for our weather forecast for tonight and into tomorrow. Compliments of our friends there at the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Here's your weather forecast for tonight and into tomorrow.
The synopsis is calling for a few showers that are likely later tonight through Thursday as a weak trough moves across the Caribbean and interacts with moisture arriving from Cuba overnight. Now, light winds and seas are expected to persist over the Northwest Caribbean as the pressure gradient remains slack over the region. Now, radar imagery shows a few showers in and around the Cayman area that are moving towards the west-southwest. Tonight's forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will fall near the low 80s and winds will be east to northeast 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Now for tomorrow is calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers with possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the low 90s with heat index of near 108 degrees Fahrenheit and winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Now will be a high tide at 6:38 p.m. this evening, a low tide at 12:53 a.m. tomorrow morning, and another high is expected at 5:35. Sun will set this evening at 7:04 and sun will rise tomorrow morning at 5:59. Now the outlook is calling for moderate chance of shower activity through the early weekend as an early wave begins to move over the Southwest Caribbean. And yes, that's a look at this evening's weather across the Cayman Islands. And yes, we're going to now move and take it in to what stories are making our local headlines for this evening. The Royal Air Force A400M carrier is visiting the Cayman Islands this week as part of the UK's ongoing defense engagement in the Caribbean. Now, members of 30 Squadron arrived at Owen Roberts International Airport earlier today and will depart on Thursday. Now, during the visit, the governor and acting premier met Group Captain Andy McIntyre and had a tour of the aircraft, and the governor will host a reception for the crew. Now, officials says that the visit strengthens cooperation in disaster preparedness with Cayman's agencies touring the aircraft and sharing expertise in emergency response and resilience. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is investigating reports of a new scam involving Google Meet videos where the caller pretends to be a legitimate agency and asks victims for online banking credentials. Police have released an image of the suspect described as having a fair complexion, dark hair, and wearing a medical mask and claiming to be police or immigrations. Official says government agencies will never request banking details during unsolicited calls, and anyone receiving similar video calls should end the conversation immediately and report the matter to their bank and the nearest police station. This investigation is an ongoing one, and we will continue to follow this as this develops. But just in case you get that call, this is the image that is in circulation, and we want you to be on your guard. Also in police news, police are investigating a series of attempted burglaries in Northside and early Wednesday morning. Shortly after 1:30 a.m., a man in dark clothing entered a home through an unsecured balcony door, but fled when the occupant shouted at him. Officers then responded to two similar reports nearby where the suspect again entered through unsecured doors. In one case, cash and personal items were taken. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is urging residents to secure all doors and windows and to check any relevant CCTV. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Podden Town Police Station or submit anonymous tips through Crime Stoppers. The Ministry of Planning and Lands and Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure has announced the Central Scranton Park officially opening on August 1st from 3 to 5 p.m. Now, the new park is described as a vibrant community space designed to bring people together while promoting recreation, wellness, and connection. Parking will be available for this opening event at One Capitol Place, the Government Administration Building, and the Flowers parking lot off Martin Drive. Officials says the park is intended to be a welcoming space for everyone in the community. Big congratulations for that. Let's take a look at what's making regional news this evening here on the Sabrina Speaks platform. Out of Jamaica, the Jamaica Gleaner reports that French renewable energy company HDF Energy has secured land for a proposed utility-scale solar, hydrogen, and battery storage project. The company is inviting investors, contractors, and operators to take part in the development, which aligns with Jamaica's push towards expanding clean energy infrastructure. Now, officials says the project could support long-term resilience and modernization of the country's energy sector. Moving over to Barbados today, yes, they're reporting that Sunrise Airways has officially launched a twice-weekly nonstop service between Antigua and Barbuda and Barbados. The inaugural flight arrived just after midday today, where it was welcomed by Minister of Tourism and International Transport and other officials. Tourism leader says that the new route will strengthen regional connectivity and make travel between the two islands more convenient while supporting continued growth in visitor arrivals. As we continue to travel regionally, we turn our attentions over to Guyana because President Dr. Ali has proclaimed 3 days of national mourning from today through Friday in honor of victims of the MV Barham tragedy. Now, the vessel capsized off Guyana's north coast last week, resulting in multiple deaths and several people still unaccounted for. Flags will be flown at half-mast as the country pays tribute to those lost. Now, officials says that the proclamation reflects national solidarity and support for families affected by the incident. CBS reports that President Trump plans to impose 100% tariffs on imported generic drugs beginning in 2028, increasing to 200% the following year. The administration says that the move is intended to push manufacturers to shift production to the United States. Health policy experts warns, however, that tariffs may rise consumer prices and could lead some companies to exit the United States market, affecting drug availability. Generic medication accounts for about 90% of prescriptions nationwide. And as we wrap up that section, we see where for the second time since Saturday, Ukraine has carried out strikes on warehouse belonging to Wild Berries, Russia's largest online retailer, and often described as the country's version of Amazon. Now, Russian officials says that the facilities were hit in an ongoing cross-border attacks targeting logistic sites. The strikes come amid heightened tensions along the frontier, with Ukraine continuing to target infrastructure used to support Russia's war effort. No casualty figures have been confirmed at this time. We see where out of France this evening, just before going into the market, closing markets for today, but out of France, yes, they're saying that last month's historic heat wave led to at least 5,700 excess deaths, a sharp increase from earlier estimates. And officials report that record-breaking temperatures placed several strain on hospitals and emergency services, with older adults and medically vulnerable groups mostly affected. Authorities warned that extreme heat events are becoming more frequent across Europe and are urging continued vigilance as temperatures continue to rise. Just take a look at the major regional after that. It's shifting gears and look at our stock market closings for today's business market wrap up for today. We see where global markets close mixed today, with the Dow slipping slightly while the S&P 500 and NASDAQ posted modest gains on steady tech sector activity. Now, oil held firm near recent highs and gold eased on stronger and US dollar movement. Now, across the Caribbean, we see where Jamaica's JSE main and junior markets were steady with light midweek trading. Trinidad and Tobago's composite index saw small financial sector gains, and Barbados reported quiet activity with minimal price change. Now that concludes, yes, your business market closing for today, July 22nd, 2026. I say welcome to one and all. It's good to be back with you here this evening. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, where you are taking over the mic. Yes, I'm talking to all of you. Let's take this opportunity to say happy birthday, happy anniversary, well wishes to all of you persons celebrating huge milestones today. From all of us on the Sabrina Speaks platform, we want you and wishing you many, many more as you continue to celebrate. Like I said, if it's a birthday, if it's an anniversary, yes, tongue and cheek will meet. Tongue and cheek will meet. It just brings you closer together. That's how it is in this space. And we know there are some of you who are mourning the loss of a loved one. We just want you to know that our thoughts and prayers go out to you as well, as you navigate this difficult and challenging times. And you are not forgotten. No, you are not. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you as well. So there you have it from us here on the Sabrina Speaks platform. Yes, go ahead and share the live with your friends. Just tell them we got an open mic today. Open mic is today, and we welcome them. 936-8255 is the number to call if you want to be part of the lively discussion as we continue to build and grow here every day. Now let's see I want to just do a gentle reminder to those persons from the Royal Cayman Islands Police, because this continues to be very important, that the police is reminding the public in Little Cayman to take caution if they encounter any suspicious package or unusual items washed ashore. Now, officer says that these items should not be touched, moved, or opened under any circumstances. And anyone who finds something concerning should keep a safe distance, note the location, and call police immediately. Now, residents are also asked to calmly guide others away until officers arrive, and reports can be made through 911 or your nearest police station. So we want to make sure. And this is also a gentle reminder here of the Cayman Islands Border and Customs. Hold on, let me grab this image. Yeah, CBC's public auction that'll be taking place this on Saturday, August 1st, of undeclared and seized goods. This will be happening at 42 Owen Roberts Drive in Georgetown. And if you want to go and take advantage of what I'm hearing to be some sweet deals, yes, of some good stuff, you can put this in your calendar, mark your calendar for this date. For those who have attended, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's back August 1st. So mark your calendars. Also, this aligns with that scam thing, because I saw where CNB as well, Cayman National Bank, is also warning customers about fraudsters posing as trusted organizations to obtain banking credentials. And their official says that scammers are contacting people by phone, text, email, and even video calls. Again, repeating what the police is putting out there, wearing facial masks to appear legitimate. Now, customers from CNB, you see me have it up here on the screen. Customers are reminded to never share password, OTPs. That's that number that you get when you try to log on to your online banking. Don't share those numbers. Don't share your card details or your PINs. And if something feels suspicious, or you just get a weird feeling, you are encouraged from CNB to contact the bank directly at 949-8300 or 949-4655. You can also email them as seen here at cnb@caymannational.com. And the bank urges everyone to pause, verify, and stay secured. So yeah, there you have it there. So I just want to make sure that we get all of this information out, because it's just, I'm going to break this down, because a lot of you saying, well, look, aren't they responsible for this? Like if I get hacked, I mean, you see an 815 number calling you, what are the chances of that not being CNB? But then unfortunately, something feels off. It's just weird conversation. when you're in doubt, just don't say anything. Just hang up. If they want you that bad, they know how to get you, or you have a right to go into the bank yourself. But I will break down a little bit more because I'm hearing people who's responsible. I'll just spend about 5-10 minutes after we do and acknowledge all of you here. We'll just spend a couple minutes to just walk you through that. But hey, Donnie from Green Valley Nursery is joining us here this evening. It's so good to have you with us this evening, my sweet. How are you? I'm seeing the beauties that you're sharing with me today, but for some reason I did not save them. But no, man, I got them. I just didn't put them in the queue. I want to thank you for sharing with us these lovely beauties here. And you got all sorts of stuff I'm seeing there at Green Valley Nursery. Yeah, so they're open from Monday to Saturday from 7 until 4. You can visit Dawn at Green Valley Nursery there over in Laura Valley. Can't miss it. And she will help you decorate your space for sure. From 7 until 4. So if you're stressed out and in traffic, be coming into work or going home from work, just pull off the road. And Dawn will be more than happy to help you design your space for sure. Connie Bonnie is also here. Good evening, Sabrina Speaks, Kinder, Gentler World. Yep, and that was me having whatever the heck was going on. Miss Barbara G is here as well. Thank you so much. Thank you all for the confirmation as well. Mitzi Thompson is here. Good evening to you. Trouble is in the house. What beach are you on? Jerry Springer? You behaving today? Plain and Straight is also joining me today as well. So good to have you all here. My content creators in bloom has come out in living color and beautiful bloom today. Connie Bonnie shares with us this beautiful desert rose here that she shared with us today. And look at this. And I gotta see what this one is because I don't even remember. That's an orchid. Yes. There we go, past that test, even though if I cheated. That's an orchid that Connie Bonnie shared with us today. And here's a beautiful desert rose as well. There we go. And Donnie, Green Valley Nursery, look at this. Look at that. She got some stuff there. Oh my goodness. Dawn is sharing. These are all beauties that you can get at the Green Valley Nursery in Laura Valley. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, I'm not going to tell you that she could dig up something this size for you, but she can definitely get you well on your way if you're interested that you want some things like these somewhere in your yard or to make a space. But I'm quite sure Donnie will be more than happy to help you design that space if you so desire. Yep. Connie's, yeah, girl, you had me there for a minute. I was a bit sidetracked this evening for some weird reason. That is happening. And Murphy's Law boy. I had everything ready and going live and wasn't sure. At least I wasn't hearing anything coming through the board. So yeah, I don't know what the heck, but whatever it is, those gods help me out there. But as I said, welcome one and all for all of you who are joining us. We're going to be looking at the increase in micro entrepreneurship here in the Cayman Islands. But we got a call, and I love that we are doing this easy Sunday morning open mic segment, so we can stop it at any point in time. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Well, good evening.
Hi.
Decided I would share a little bit of my evening with you.
Hi. Thank you.
I guess there's no cricket, right? Football.
That way, So you surface.
That just means that no cricket this evening.
Okay.
Mean it's all over.
It's true.
And I was just being, like I said, I shared some of my morning with Sandra. But you know what? I give Sabrina a little bit this evening.
No worries.
But Sabrina, if you don't mind, I'd like to add something concerned. Oh, before I get there, that yellow African Adanium that you put up, I got one of those from Dawn.
Oh.
Yes. And let me tell you something. It's a killer.
Really?
Everybody that saw it wanted one. And anyway, I told them where I got it from. I'm happy to see that she's gotten them in again. They're beautiful. And, they're one of the most rare colors in an African.
Okay. Interesting.
And if she has that one in stock, I might consider treating myself to it.
Well, there you go. Well, let me tell you something. You know, my friend, we know. Like I did some of the things that I see her send me. I said, well, sometimes I put my foot in my mouth, but I said, if somebody want to buy it, my lady, she could dig it up.
But you know what? Since you get that kind of special treatment from her, maybe I go through you.
Well, there we go. I can assure you she's listening.
I know she's listening, and I hope she's listening.
Okay.
So, and she has my number too, so she can let me know she still has that one in stock.
Okay.
And while she's listening, I'm also looking for we call them miniature palms. Some people call them Christmas palms. Yeah, because I had that old white fly business come through here.
Oh.
And it killed one of mine. So trying to replace it. I want to buy a small one that I can already plant because, I have the seeds and I could do it myself, but that's going to take a while. So I said, if I could just buy one that is about maybe 2-3 feet tall, that, I would like to know.
Okay, no problem. I just sent her some messages there. Yep. So I just did it. See, that's the power of Sabrina Speaks.
That's right. And okay, so about the thing there with Cayman National.
Oh, with go ahead.
This applies to any bank, any phone call that you get. The first thing is you don't answer any questions that you are being asked. You don't even have to get a bad feeling over you. No bank is going to call you and ask you to provide that kind of delicate information. Hang the phone up, even if they say, oh, this is Sabrina calling. No, hang the phone up. You call the bank, call your bank, speak to a person that you know and that knows your voice.
Right.
And you say to them, or even if it's a name you don't know, ask them, do you have a Sabrina Turner working there? If the answer is yes, just say, well, is she doing marketing? Is she calling customers? Just give them a brief synopsis of what happened. Even if it's an email that you have received, do not communicate to these people. You get to your financial institution, and let me just say, it don't have to be a financial institution.
Right.
You verify it with them, because sometimes they were hacked and they don't even know. And these hackers, they're becoming more sophisticated by the day. And not everyone has worked in these institutions that something might seem off to them.
Right.
As a rule, and for your own safety, just do not communicate with them. It's just like when the telephone companies calling you wanting to sell you more stuff that you don't need and you don't want it. Just say, sorry, not interested, bang. End of story. Okay? And and that way you can save yourself some headache. But I would say you can also let the institution know that someone's making calls, using their company name, because more than likely they have been hacked. And for those that do online banking and stuff, I know that you said people will, oh, isn't the bank responsible? Well, here's a news flash. No, they're not. No, they're not. You need to read that fine print. So when you have signed up, do that. That's your risk. Okay? Read the fine print. So,
well,
in the case of a credit card,
right,
and stuff like that, and transactions now, that's different, because once you dispute it immediately, and that too is not as straightforward as you think, because if the merchant has already parted with his goods, of course he wants to be compensated too. So that may be a little problem there in you being reimbursed. So I would suggest to everyone, I don't know that every bank does this, I know for sure Cayman National does, you can get yourself signed up, that as soon as you have done a transaction, you get a pop-up in your phone, or you can get both, the text message pop-up and an email pop-up. That way, if your card has been hacked and someone has used it, you get the pop-up. And if it wasn't you, you let the bank know right away. They can block that card. And in a case like that, the dispute goes into effect immediately. So whatever the charge is, you won't lose. You'll get your money back because the merchant hasn't parted with his goods first.
Right.
And so I would say, before you put your signature to anything, know what you are signing. Take the forms home, read through them. If it's something you don't understand, discuss it with someone. Yes, it is quick. Yes, it is easy. But it's not always the safest. I'm old school.
A lot of people.
Old school. I'm old school. Okay. So I like to do things the old-fashioned way. I like pencil and paper. That's me.
Yeah. Well, I did a little digging, Calder, to be honest with you. And one of the questions that I prompted was whether or not, what specifically were laws with these type of scams between the customer and the bank. And what came up, and I stand to be corrected for those of you who may have something otherwise, that unlike the United Kingdom and the European Union, it is saying here that Cayman doesn't really have statutory mandatory refund or a rule for fraud losses. And the responsibility really depends on how the fraud occurred and whether the customer shared sensitive information, which goes back to what you were alluding to. Make sure you read the fine print. Now, I felt it was very responsible, and it should be responsible and fast acting of all financial institutions, since we've already had an uptick in these online scams. But CNB, from what I saw based on me preparing for today, they rolled out very quickly. And they were very, very specific by saying, look, if the victim gives passwords, share OTPs, which is that code for your online banking, provide PINs, click fraudulent links, and allow remote access, then if I have here on the screen, the scenario it plays out, whether or not the bank would be responsible or whether or not it could be shared liability. But it's quite clear. It all depends on exactly how that scam took place.
And that's exactly my point. Read the fine print. Just like you applying for a mortgage. You don't have to put your signature because the bank said, yes, we're giving you your mortgage. You don't have to sign it at that very moment. You say, okay, I'll take it with me. I'm going to read over it and then I'll sign it. I may have questions, write your questions down. You get back in, ask your questions. I know a lot of people get carried away with the excitement of just getting through. So you don't need to worry about that. You just sign off. It's just like with insurances, But it is very, very important. Read the fine print.
Correct.
And even if you have read it, it might be something there you don't understand. Please do not be afraid to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with you asking questions. There's nothing wrong with you not knowing. Doesn't mean you're stupid. Doesn't mean you're dumb. Actually, it would be in the reverse. Because when you assume that you know everything, I think we know the rest of that, right? So, as I said, you protect yourself.
Right.
Do everything you can do to protect yourself. These scammers are becoming so sophisticated.
Correct.
What is happening is that they're becoming more sophisticated than the firewalls.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. It's like the viruses, the antibiotics don't work on them anymore. So they're trying to
resistant.
That's right. That's what's happening. Don't forget, this is what these people do as a job.
That they live in
all day long, perfecting it. Okay? So my suggestion would be, do not answer emails, especially if you're not. But first of all, the bank wouldn't write you with sensitive information in an email. And you share it even though it's your bank. That's the first thing. And it's the same thing even in a telephone conversation. If your bank, it must be someone at the bank that knows your voice and you can communicate with, they know it's you. And you don't have to give your entire account number, You can just give a portion of it.
Correct.
Even if your call is being listened to, and you don't even have to say, what currency that account is, because to a person that doesn't deal with that bank, they would know the sequence of numbers they start with. So given too much information. You're making the scammers' job much too easy.
Yeah.
You have to be extremely, extremely careful.
This, I think, hit close to home yesterday because Eric called me to find out if CNB had called me. And I'm saying no. And I looked at it. But where it got off is because it was what he described as the person trying to change their voice because they were doing it based on compliance. But then they asked, they wasn't sure if it was Edward or Eric. And that was when he was spooked. But he didn't, of course, get to the point. He actually back and forth with them, not like trying to say, but, you know, he actually put up an argument with them. And it was after the fact that he says, I think I may have spoken too long because if they're trying to capture his voice, they would have had enough. But he was actually fighting with them verbally. But eventually he ended it. But what spooked him was it was obvious the background did not sound professional, number one. Two, and it sounded as though they were trying, they put in a lot of effort of trying to change their voice, and they called him Edward. They wasn't sure if it was Edward or Eric.
Well, that right there would have been a red flag.
Exactly.
And the other thing, especially if it's compliance, the other thing is too, if you see a number calling you, that's not a Cayman area
It was an 815. That was the weird thing. He says, look, it was 815, but something fell off.
Right. But I was going to get to that because they can clone your number.
Correct.
First of all, if they're calling you, they don't even know your name. And especially if they claim they're calling from compliance. If it's in the area of the bank that got your name correct,
it could be compliance.
So from the time they don't have the correct name, you end that conversation.
Yeah.
And I said that to say this. Sometimes they just need to have you on the phone for 5 or 10 seconds. And they don't really care what your name is because they're cloning the information on your phone while you don't know it. So that's why you don't keep them on the phone
too long,
any longer than they have called you and you answered it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
As I said, it has to be someone at your bank or anything that you deal with that you recognize a voice.
Yep.
And if you don't recognize that voice, you need to end that call as soon as you answered it. That's not being rude. It's protecting yourself.
Exactly.
And I have already said what you should do afterwards. And if it turns out to be a legitimate call, of course, you can always apologize and say, I thought it might have been a scammer, you know? And then I would suggest that you immediately block that number. Block the number so that they can't call you again. Because again, sometimes they may call you in the middle of the night after you have fallen asleep. You know, people tend to reach over and just answer their phones. They don't look, they're groggy and stuff. And that's a very vulnerable time to be hacked also.
Right.
Be careful with that.
Well,
but anyway, since we started out talking about football and cricket and so on, now I'm going to ask you, did you watch the finals on Sunday?
FIFA? If what? I had my pudding pan and I almost echoed my aunt Ed and my cousin. I was doing it just to provoke them.
Okay, so I'm just asking out of curiosity, who were you rooting for?
My team never lost a match in the entire FIFA game.
Okay, so that answers it. So
I admitted from the beginning, I'm really not a sports person. I don't know if in the past year, because I've been working from home and based on my new chapter now, I'm doing a lot of content creating. The TV was on and let me tell you, your girl got hooked. I am now hooked. I am hooked. Yeah, so it would have been unfair for me. I was judging based on how I saw the players played, despite me identifying some calls were like, that not making much sense. So to be honest with you, I couldn't say I went into this season of FIFA of 2026 saying I'm team Brazil, Argentina, this, that. No, because I've never followed it up before. Now, I can tell you what, I fell in love with Cabo Verde. I fell in love with Norway, of course, the UK because thereof. But it was that type of addiction for me and not necessarily a team, because this would have been my first time ever watching it.
Okay. But let me just say, and I don't have to be around the bush because I can call their name. But before I get there, my teams got knocked out fairly early. So I dealt with the heartbreak early, got over it. I said, okay, as I put it, well, I still got 2 horses in the race and a wild card. So one by one, my horses left. I still had my wild card. My wild card left. I said, okay, well, let me see who else I can find myself rooting for. And now, when it comes to me rooting for a team, it goes a lot deeper than anybody might think.
Right.
But I must say, I had watched Spain throughout the tournament, and I said, Spain has a good team. You know, it's not going to be easy to beat them. And they went with a clean sheet until they ran into Norway. That was the only person that scored on them. So by the time it came down to that, I knew that Spain was going to the finals. And I said, well, whoever they meet, they're going to beat them. Because right now, nobody's going to beat Spain. They weren't exciting to watch, but they obviously were watching their opponents.
Right.
And they knew when to change their tactics, which they did. That was clear. And I will say that I didn't care for either nation in the finals, but that little young man, Jamal, he had already stolen my heart. I was rooting for him. And the other guy, Nico Williams, because, you know, you read their stories and stuff, you know. If you're not touched by it, you don't have a heart.
Correct.
I was so, you know, I just kept saying, come on, Jamal, come on, I want you to score the goal. Anyway, it was as if he was the team for me. Right. Because Spain is not a team I would root for otherwise. But then, you know, of course, other people, they were calling me and they were saying 2-0, 2-0. And I said, nope, there's a 1 in it. And they said, well, what do you think? You know what I wish? I wish I was a betting woman. And I said, it's 1-0 and it will be scored in extra time. Now, can you imagine how much money I would have had?
Well, a little good homecoming you would have had, yeah.
Oh, I really wish I was a betting woman. But anyway, you know, we were just doing it. Well, I mean, on my part for fun because I didn't put any money down.
Right.
But I said that because, of course, we knew Argentina were going to come out to fight. You know, they were the defending champions. But if you must be honest, Argentina did not have a great team. Argentina relied on Messi. And now you can't take away from Messi what Messi is. Whether you like him, whether you like the team, you have to give it to him. He's the maestro. Okay? But Spain had already studied them. And they realized, just like they did with France, you only have to shut Mbappe down and you shut France down. And they did the same thing with Argentina. As I said, there was no surprise in the end result for me, except that I should have really bet. But anyway.
Well, for me, I was being scuffed all along in the early days because, of course, they're like one evening, my son came home and, you know, they just heard me all into the game. I think this was a game being played on a Saturday. And they're like, Eric is like, where's your mother? Where is your mother? And they're like, because that's not your mother. That's how much noise I was making. And I was cussing, I was rowing. Because I just saw a bad place. They're like, who has she become? Who has she become?
In other words, who are you and what did you do with my wife?
Exactly, yes. They were like, and then I really called a lot of the matches because I had time to do like what you say, look at the at the better one. And I kept looking at my son and saying, that one never get it, you know. He says, Mommy, why don't you bet? Because I don't believe that you're just calling all of these. It wasn't until the very end then that I was like, boy, this is getting tricky. I am still a greenie here. But I would say, like yourself, if I was betting, especially in the early days, when I tell you no team lost for me, that's a fact. But people considered me being a bandwagonist. No, from the early time, no. I'm not a sports person. I'll watch my basketball every now and again, but to say I would be the one around the grill, I would be the one making sure everybody's okay. If we're going out together, I'd be the best fan. You would never know who I'm with. I wouldn't be a damper to the mood. I just join in with you. But to say it's neither here nor there, but I tell you what, you girl hook. Your girl is hook.
But you know what? Let me tell you, and now that you've seen them play as nations, if there's a player you like, you can follow that player, whichever club.
Correct. Which I have.
Yeah, and you learn so much about them.
Correct.
And this is how you learn about them. You can get to like a team just because
of that one individual.
Yes.
To show you, not to cut you, how green I was. When I heard this song come out about the goat, I said, we really lost our marbles when we can sit down and bobbing our head to an artist about a goat. I said, we have gone, because there's an artist that sings a song, and every time my family and I would go out, that I would hear this play either in the clubs or out at sessions, whatever, right? It goes, but yeah. And I'm like, why are we dancing to this? And I would stop in my tracks, and I would either just go on the side, right? So when I heard this one about the goat, your girl was so green. I did not even know it was the greatest of all time. So I'm like, oh my God, how old were you? That is how out of touch I was with this. But I was just saying, well, Jesus wept and died. We have gone, we have lost our marbles when we can just stand up talking foolishness. And I said, why would they be so rude calling this man a goat?
So it's an acronym. But I don't know for you what the moment of the World Cup was, but for me, it was Jamal's little 3-year-old brother.
He has won the hearts of the world. Yeah.
And he's pointing like, that's my brother,
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people didn't even know until he ran onto the field.
Correct.
And he threw the thing down, and I guess now that's something between them.
Yeah.
And obviously he called him back and he picked him up. And to me, that was just so beautiful.
It brought a human side to who he is. Yes.
And to be 16 years older than your little brother. And he then, I don't know how he got out there, but he got out there to his big bobo. At 3 years old, he understood.
Yes. What that moment meant. Yeah.
That's right.
Correct.
And it's from that age that's introduced to them, and they grow with it. Either they continue to love it or they have no, inclination after a certain age.
Yeah.
But I would say in years to come, he could be a little baller too.
I think we will see history repeating itself with what happened to him and Messi. Yeah, I think we're going to see this kid. It's going to be interesting.
But you know what was so funny? And both of these players said this, Jamal and Williams Jr. They said, while everybody, kept interviewing them and like trying to compare them to Messi, or did they want to, emulate themselves? They said Neymar is actually their hero. But they were respectful when they were asked the question. And Jamal said he even traveled to Brazil just to meet Neymar.
Wow.
Even though there was that history between him and Messi.
Right.
So that's why one shouldn't assume.
Correct.
Yeah. And there's the player that stole my heart too, not necessarily the team, but the player, and that was Jude Bellingham from the English team.
Yes.
And now he stole my heart. And I see him as the future of the English team.
Okay.
They're going to build around him. And he has a younger brother, Job. He's 2 years younger, but 2 inches taller. If you follow them, they have a very interesting story too. And the other thing that I thought, actually, that made me emotional, this was Williams Jr., when he ran to the stands and he handed his mother his gold.
Yes, his medal. Yes, his medal.
I've never So I don't know if you know the story about them.
How
and
she walked across the desert, for days.
Sahara
Yeah.
Desert, but
Mhm.
big in pregnancy with him.
Correct.
So there are moments like that
Yeah.
touch me. They're unforgettable,
Correct.
regardless of whether it's your diehard team or not. But World Cup is, I don't know if you would say they're equal, but I'm going to say similar. Like the Olympics,
Yes.
it's a unifier.
Yes, it does. And I think for
People
some
stop
weird
everything.
reason, the World Cup probably is more a unifier than even the Olympics. But there was just something. There's just something about the World Cup. Yeah, that you don't see people coming out in droves and pretty much blocking roads. I've heard, because we were home, Mango Tree Police were directing traffic. I am not aware of that happening during any Olympics. You see what I'm saying? So it's at least for here. Yeah.
But speaking of that, I saw someone post something on Facebook and they asked where should they go to watch one of the games. It was either the third place or the finals. And I simply wrote and said, home. That's the best and safest place to watch. You invite your people over and you watch it there. Even if you're rooting for opposite teams, at least you're safe, right?
Right.
Because let me tell you something.
Some people can get very vicious.
Well, let me tell you something that a lot of people might know. You see, in England, all of the pubs have signs up, and they say no football jerseys. Okay, that's right. That's because if you walk in there with the wrong jersey, that's already a fight.
Good God.
Okay, that's how serious.
That would make sense why I saw some clippings coming over where they went in with the Argentina jersey on, and as soon as the final whistle was blown, they took it off. And they had the other team's jersey on under it.
I'll share a personal story with you. I have family in England, and I'd never met them. So when I went to meet them, I said to them, I want to go down to Manchester because I want to go to Old Trafford. Now, you may not know, Old Trafford is, but they have two sections. They have the football section and they have the cricket section. Me being the cricket fanatic that I am, and I'd watch, West Indies have so many victories there. I always wanted to go there, actually, to watch them play. But I said, okay, I still want to go. I want to have a look, And so when I said to my cousin, I want to go there, he admitted to me afterwards that he was so nervous because he thought I wanted to go to the football section. And so he was so nervous. And then he said, when I said, no, I want to go over to the cricket section, he said he was so relieved. And then he felt it was necessary to post pictures. Now, mind you, to me, if you didn't post it, no one would have known. But he felt it was necessary, just in case anybody had heard. He posted the pictures with an explanation. This is my cousin from the Cayman Islands.
Oh, my.
Yes. And, he wanted to visit here because of the West Indies cricket team, having so many great memories here. And, of course, it was closed, but the man was nice enough to let us in. So we were able to go out on the Oval. We took pictures and, ringing the bell and stuff like that. And so when I saw the post, I said to him, I said, but, none of your friends would have known that you came here, He said, no, they would have heard. They would have heard.
Very interesting.
And since we're talking about World Cup in England now, let me share this one. So one of my cousins there has a birthday on the 26th of June. And I always send him a little birthday package, right? So I sent his package. I was a bit late with it, but I did tell him it was late. I said, you won't get it for your birthday, but, you'll get it a couple of days after. So I went out, sent it off, and 3 weeks later, he hadn't received it. So I said, something is wrong. And they tracked it. They said it was still in Cayman. I said, that cannot be right. So I went to the post office with my papers, and I said to the young lady, and by the way, thank you, my darling. You were so, so helpful. And I said, could you track this for me? And I explained to her. And she said to me, this package left Cayman. On the 27th of June, it arrived at Heathrow on the 2nd of July. It is still in Heathrow. And I said, oh, okay, that explains it. I said, no one was working. They were all watching World Cup. But now that it's over, I'm sure they'll start working. He'll get his package. So he called me this morning to tell me his package had arrived.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
There you go.
And then she was amazed. And I said to her, I said, listen, people don't work during World Cup.
No.
They're going to work, but they're not working.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you're right. She said, because England was there. Like, I said, that's right. I said, nobody works during World Cup. People take their vacation during that time. They call in sick. They do all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the companies and, businesses, I think they realize what World Cup is. So they'll put TVs in, like the restaurants, boutiques.
They're a little bit more relaxed. I know. Yeah.
They don't want to lose their customers.
Correct.
And I remember when I worked at the bank, and these are people I thought you shouldn't even go to the bathroom, okay? And you shouldn't have a coffee break. But during World Cup, they said you can go in the boardroom, you can watch the game, as long as you don't have a client.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you had clients, you had to deal with that first.
Of course.
But when you see them can bow to that should tell you.
That speaks volumes, yeah.
That's right. So I say it's a great thing. I mean, I got my negative views on it too, but I still say, to me, they still have to top what South Africa did as far as host. Yeah,
there's some mixed reviews coming out there, even about how much Spain will get in their World Cup prize money. X amount of percentage. Yes.
That's not right.
Yes, that is now making its headlines around the world. Why? Yeah, because it was money earned on US soil.
It doesn't matter though. This is a competition.
Yeah.
You put your hat in the ring to be a host country. You know that the prize, wherever it had been played, they've never taxed it, Why are you now going to do that? To me, this World Cup, and I say this based on, it was hosted by 3 countries, but I'm speaking of one specifically.
Mm-hmm.
It took all of the integrity and class out of World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And now all I'm seeing are the protests from the European countries, the African countries, and so on. And I share in everybody's view that president needs to step down. He needs to go.
That's the FIFA president now.
FIFA president, okay? He needs to go. I'm sorry. You need to realize when you have lost all credibility, and instead of destroying what is the world's biggest and most enjoyable unifier, you need to step aside.
Mm-hmm.
And if he has any respect for himself, maybe he's in too deep, I don't know, that's what he would do. And UEFA president has made it very clear that, they don't need FIFA, but FIFA needs them.
Mm-hmm.
But that now is all the European nations. So if they decide to boycott it, there will be no World Cup football.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on that and see its development moving forward.
Since you're now into it, that's something else you can keep your
But
eyes
I can't
on.
go MIA like you. I still have to show up here because look at, I shared this meme on Monday. That moment, the final whistle blow, and life remind you, it's me again, babes.
And the thing is, I didn't go MIA, because cricket was going on also. So I was watching cricket, of course. When the football would come on, I would switch over there. And when there was a little break, I switched back.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I did on Sunday. The cricket came on at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I was watching that. And then after the first innings, I said, okay, time to shower and wash my hair.
Gotta
get ready for the finals. So I went in the shower. I turned the TV on in the room as loud as it could go so I could still hear what was happening. Then I came out. I turned the TV on in the kitchen, but I muted that. That one was on cricket. And then I turned the other one on the football.
Oh, dear Jesus. Everywhere you went, you had like a vantage point.
Yeah. Because I had to know what was happening, with the cricket as well.
Oh, wow.
And I almost got 2 wins in one day, because it came down to where West Indies needed 1 wicket to win and New Zealand needed 1 run to win. And this was when they were just about to go back on the field for extra time.
Okay.
So I flick right back over. Of course, I get the pop-ups on my phone.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd gotten the wicket, but the third umpire said, no, not a wicket. So, okay. And I'm saying, come on, let's squeeze them. And then I started seeing pop-up on my phone, and I was reluctant to look. But eventually, when I looked at it, it said West Indies had lost by 1 wicket.
Yeah,
so
right.
I could have gotten 2 wins in one day.
There you almost did. Well, lucky for you,
Yeah.
you got time management and sport all worked out. Good for you. It works for you.
Yeah, but you have to.
Yeah, it's called balance.
But well, when you retire, that's what retirement is about. I found myself, as I used to say, I have more work to do now than when I had a job.
But it's on your time. What you make
right.
it. Mm-hmm.
I had to change that. So
Yeah, there we go.
Sabrina, you don't want some cats?
Oh no, Christ, no.
Oh, dear
No,
God.
thank you.
All right, let me go because I'm still listening. But I'm
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And let me know what Dawn says about the grant.
Oh, I will. I told her to call you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told her to call you.
All right.
All right, my dear. Take care. Have a good evening. Thanks for your contribution. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you have it. Yeah, she definitely took us back. That caller, Miss Brenda, took us back into exactly what the weekend was all about. There is no way in hell I'm going to share that video of myself here at home, but we came to one conclusion, that my family has to stay at home for sure because of the banter. It was all good, but definitely I shared that with you guys on Monday, but we definitely can't go out. Oh no, you don't. When I tell you I had that pan and that wooden spoon and I was really getting at under the skin of my cousin and stuff, and we just all had a good laughter of it, and we had some good finger food and stuff here. So I must say we had a very good time. Getting back to the topic, and yes, Miss Brenda, I got the message. She will call you soon, so don't worry about it. So yeah, as we were talking about the scam, and this is the public notice as we wrap up this section, and then I'll go into the rise of micro entrepreneurship here in the Cayman Islands. This is a public advisory. It has hit home close to myself because Eric got a call yesterday as well. But in regards to Cayman as a whole, any fraud involving stolen banking credentials here in the Cayman Islands is treated like a criminal offense. And what we're seeing is that victims are protected through the police investigation at a bank level, security reviews, and liability really depends on how the scam occurred. So as Ms. Brenda alluded to earlier on in the conversation, it's not just the bank's fault. You got to read the fine print. Liability depends on how the scam occurred, and banks are responsible if their systems are compromised. But cases where customers have shared passwords or OTPs are accessed individually. They're assessed, individually. And what we're seeing is that regulators then require the banks to investigate all fraud claims and treat customers fairly. That is what's nationally and holds those banks accountable. And anyone targeted by a scam should contact, of course, their bank immediately and file a police report. So we're seeing here on the screen, if there's a scenario where the bank system was hacked, the bank itself was hacked, then of course it's the bank's responsibility. If a fraudster accessed account without the customer sharing any information, of course, the responsibility then would lie on the banks. Now, if the customer themselves takes this call, does a video interview and share information with that person, thinking that they were someone from the bank, and share passwords, OTPs, or even their PINs, credit card details, that sort of stuff, the customer may be liable, but the bank still investigates. That's the responsibility side of it. Now, if customer is tricked by impersonation of a police, or in this case, an immigration officer, it's more than likely possible shared liability, but case by case review. So we just can't shoot at the hip and say, oh, it's this person, it's that person. No, still has to be investigated. And look then, if the bank fails to detect unusual transaction, then the bank may be liable. The key words here, may and be liable. It's just not carte blanche. So the thing is, if something funny goes off in your gut and it's something just does not feel right, my advice to you would be hang up. Don't worry about being polite, because they ain't giving two shakes of a duck's tail when they're taking your and draining your account dry. So this is the image that is in circulation that has been put out of someone who's making these calls and pretending to be immigration or a bank, asking you for your credentials if you get a video call. So just be wary of this, but please, if something doesn't feel right, just stop. Just don't. That's what the police is urging all of us to do. So I think we have pretty much enlightened and spoke about that enough. Let's get on to, the phone lines are open. This is open mic. It's summer for the next couple of weeks. I'd say for the next 2 weeks, even though we're going to have topics that we will be speaking on. The lines are open, 936-8255. You can call in, you can exhale. This is what it is. It's summer. Let's exhale. But guess what? I have a 2-hour show. I got to have content. So there are going to be times that I'm going to be speaking on stuff, but at any time during the conversation, you want to weigh in on the topic at hand, or you want to bring up something that is pressing on you, as long as it's respectful and we can share and have a little laugh, I welcome it. Yes, we welcome it. Alfred Real strikes today, and look at his orchid of the day, that brute. Look at him. He must be got shares in this restaurant, wherever this is. Yeah. And he's obviously a meat lover. That is Alfred Real's meal of the day. Thank you for sharing that with us, Alfred. Always love to hear from you. And Andrew is also here as well. Good evening, Andrew. It's so good to have you joining us this day today. Connie mentioned when we were speaking about the scamming section that she had an issue that Flo cut her business phone off because someone contacted her and thought it was a scam. And that time that was Flo. Oh, dear Jesus. But I think now with all of these things happening, they will, well, I'll tell you what, the banks are going to have to block my accounts, because even when I get emails now, your girl I don't even go there. I don't even, unless it's something that I am waiting on. But just random emails, your girl don't even click on them. I will make the call to find out if they have sent out these correspondence. So unless they shut me down completely, block my accounts and say, well, Ms. Sabrina, we have tried to be in contact. We have been trying to reach you by phone, by email, and we've gotten no response. I say, oh, okay, so this was you. Yeah. But unfortunately, that is the way of the world right now. But maybe I'm hoping that doesn't happen to you again, Connie. That now that they're aware of all of these scams, and there will be a little bit more considerate, and that won't ever happen again, because this is definitely getting too prevalent now. Now let's take a look at small businesses. And I know people have to hustle. It is what it is. A man have to eat. Anybody know about that as being a small business owner for years? You got to do what you got to do. But I wanted to take an opportunity to just look at the rise of micro entrepreneurship. Not big corporation, not $1 million ventures, but everyday Caymanians creating, or any nationality, because we're seeing it in other jurisdiction as well, a rise in these micro entrepreneurships. But Caymanians and persons creating small, powerful, flexible businesses to survive, to thrive, to stay afloat in what we're seeing now as a changing economy. And like I said, it is open mic. If you want to weigh in on this, have you seen an increase? I know what I have seen an increase in is the food trucks. Have you guys noticed it? Have you seen an increase in pop-up stalls and that sort of stuff? Well, guess what? I am inviting you to call in and share your experiences if this resonates with you, or if you have thought about doing something of this And we're going to just try to explore exactly and look at the unspoken side of why this could probably be increasing. Is it sending a signal that we're not even realizing, but you're doing everything that you have to do in order to thrive, to survive, to make ends meet? Yeah, hence we're calling it, yes, the increase and the stories behind micro entrepreneurship. They look at this comment from Connie: I hate emails. Why do they allow third-party companies to have access to tomorrow's emails? Have access to emails. Oh my God, it's annoying. I'm not so sure. I don't know if that tomorrow was a typo, Connie. But yes. So if you want to weigh in on this, or if there's anything pressing on your mind, we still have 45 minutes to go here for today's episode of Sabrina Speaks. You're welcome to call in 936-8255. So as I said, we're not talking about multi-million corporations. We're not talking about huge brand labels. We're just talking about those small entrepreneurship businesses where you got a good recipe for a banana bread, and you got a good recipe for pepper jelly makers, for example. Those TikTok thrift sellers. You may have those home-based bookkeepers, or those Friday plate chefs, those bi-weekly, let's pop up looking for that good food being cooked. Those weekend even mechanics, or those mobile nail techs. Yeah, these are what we're talking about. Babysitters, tutors, and even fitness coaches. Yeah, these are some of what are defined as micro businesses. Small, lean, flexible, and pretty much often started with less, in many cases, than $1,000. Yeah, you just have a dream and you go with it, and you're good at it. Your customers love your product, you have excelled, and at the end of the day, you wouldn't even thinking about it on a grander scheme of things. Again, survival, having to live, and making an honest living, right? But think about it. And I'm going to throw it out there. Are you, or do you know someone with a side hustle? Or maybe is it yourself? Have you found yourself thinking of doing that side hustle now even more with everything that's happening in our economy? Have you thought about just making some good old tuna fish sandwiches, or just doing some nice egg custards or cassava cakes, and you just do them at like the little shots, like the little poppers, and just do it just to make extra dollars? Yeah, you're not even thinking, holy crap, I don't have a trading business for this. The common line is survival of the fittest and a man have to eat, because what we're seeing is the rise of micro entrepreneurship is a response to Cayman's economic pressure. And even though we have legislation now that encourages entrepreneurship, and there's only a $75 fee, many a times when somebody starts off with a dream, they don't even have $75. They're at their wits' ends, and they do whatever it takes in order to make ends meet. But the first thing we look at in today's economy, and just keeping it here at home, cost of living is rising faster than wages. We say that continues to be very topical. And when we look at the ESO Consumer Price Index, which you've heard the acronym, the CPI, it definitely says something that is very telling. What it shows that the overall inflation here in the Cayman Islands peaked to around 9% in the recent years. And what we also saw is food inflation has reached, guess what, a whopping 12 to 18% during these peak periods. We are also seeing where electricity and utilities, well, for anybody who got their bill in the last couple of days, by double digits. Yeah. Electricity and utility increased by double-digit percentages. Even though our government has tried to cap it, you guys are still very up in arms and saying, look, that was a waste of money. It didn't help. But it is the reality. Electricity and utilities, with everything that's happening geopolitically, it's having its impact, and also what's happening in our environment. Then we look then down at housing pressures as well. We see where the ESO and the Cayman Islands government budget reports themselves have declared that average rent of a one bedroom ranging from $1,500 to $2,200 a month. That's Cayman dollars. And the average home price, if you're thinking of buying anything, average is CI 600,000 and more. Now, again, based on the data that is localized data, rent consumes at least 35 to 50% of what we're seeing many Caymanian salaries equating to. And of course, there's also wage stagnation. Good evening, caller. You're in tune to Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
I want to make you laugh. Lucy, I hope that you think I'm bad and I'm stupid and I'm sad, but I'm giving this little joke. When we were growing up, about when you say that he showed his dish, he said Alfred like meat. I don't know if you too young to hear this, but when when we were teenagers, and my aunt used to get a bunch of girls and counseling us, telling us, well, like the walks of life or the things that we should know. You know what she used to tell us? That man like meat on the table and meat in the bed. So that's what Alfred make me like meat. I don't know, I'm not 30, but that's what she used to tell us.
Okay.
They want meat on the table, so that may be why he like meat.
Okay.
And you know him. He's
Yeah,
a joker.
he is. So
I
I'm just waiting for the dust to come back now. And your line with this meat, you need to get on his show.
Yeah. Meat on the table and meat in the bed. So I hope people don't bash me and think that I'm
No, it's a lighthearted moment. It's a lighthearted moment.
That's what she used to tell us, man, like meat on the table and meat in the bed.
Oh my God. Well, Alfred, Michelle was pulling you out. Alfred, Michelle, but just pull you out. Oh, yeah. Oh, dear Jesus. Now, we got to get back on I-95 because we took a detour. We exited off a turnpike there for a minute. But all that meat, oh, my goodness. Poor Michelle and Alfred. And I getting involved in this. All I know, I did not wear the duster today. I had on a nice dress. I got on a nice dress because he wasn't getting after me today. But that is funny as hell. Anyhow, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Open mic. It's our space as we continue to laugh, smile, put a little joke here or there, and we still continue to learn one episode at a time. The phone lines are wide open, 936-8255. But yeah, as we go back on to... Let's get back to the I-95 and just make sure that we... Oh, Michelle, but you got to go in this evening. Waiting for this Alfred reel to come back now. But oh my goodness. But some of the things that we're seeing as well that is probably driving our economy, and for persons to consider looking at starting a micro business and going into micro entrepreneurship, is wage stagnation as well. Because also based on data in the labor force survey, we saw where median wages have not kept pace with inflation. No, they haven't. And real purchasing power as well has also declined. This is based on statistics and information that is available locally. We're also seeing here in the Cayman Islands that technology lowered the barrier. We see where WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, storefronts in your pockets, people are doing Facebook Marketplace and all this sort of stuff. You could just put on it and you could just tap on it and you can get all sorts of stuff to purchase. You're seeing where you're having WhatsApp groups, as stated here, and you can join stuff and things are for sale all the time. That, my friends, is micro entrepreneurship. And these are all the things that are driving people to go here in order to keep food on the table, keep the lights on, or possibly give you that little spending money for shopping supplies, back to school supplies, or just the difference to make up that car payment or that mortgage payment. People got to do what they got to do. But when you look at the numbers that is actually here and looking at the realities of the local data that we have that is easily accessible, let me tell you something. Let's look at the numbers. Cayman's gross domestic product, GDP, we have declared here, and we have showed some numbers before as well, is strong, but unevenly felt because not everybody's feeling the growth. Not everybody's feeling the wealth. And you speak to various people, just randomly go out in town, randomly stock or go at one of the supermarkets, and you speak to some people, just randomly pick up, and you can ask everybody the same question. You're going to get a different answer if they're honest, based on what that answer is in regards to weighing how each person is unevenly being impacted by everything that's happening in our economy, right? And the Economics and Statistics Office National Accounts, they are saying that the gross domestic product, the GDP per capita, is US 80,000, which here in the Cayman Islands is amongst the highest in the Caribbean. Yes, per capita, US 80,000. But the GDP reflects national health. That's nationally the health of our populace on a national level, not household comfort. Yes, that's the big difference. So when you see somebody, you just say you got enough money, you scraped it up and you're going on vacation and you're out and people are saying, where are you from? I'm from the Cayman Islands. They see dollar signs automatically because of what the national GDP reflects. People have this perception that everyone in the Cayman Islands, for some reason or the other, is wealthy. But many Caymanians know, and they say, the country is rich, but they not feeling it. If you agree with this or not, just give me a thumbs up, give me a likes, comment on this, because not everybody is feeling what the numbers are really saying. And the ESO also, the cost per capita, right? Inflation peaked around this 9%, as we stated at the opening. Food, housing, utilities, again, being some of the leading contributors for what is raising the cost of living. And home prices raising faster than the incomes. We're seeing rental consumers, nearly half of many Caymanian salaries. Yeah, it is just a fact. And then the labor force survey, when you look then at the employment versus the unemployment, our labor force survey itself has brought statistics out that unemployment low of 3 to 4%. Now we're still waiting on the data from the latest on a labor force survey that they're probably cleaning up all of that information. I was randomly selected and I answered as truthfully as I could. I know I probably had the little lady going crazy, but I had to be honest. It is what it is. But underemployment as well is raising. We're seeing where that number continues to rise and people are working full time, but yet still find themselves struggling. Again, going back to micro entrepreneurship. Yeah, these are the things that push people into micro entrepreneurship. Even with those multi-income households becoming more of the norm. The ESO household survey is still saying that more families rely on 2 or 3 income streams. Yeah, it's a fact. And micro entrepreneurship is increasing because we're finding that that is filling the gap. Yeah. So there are some goods and bads from this. There's really not all bads, not at all. Connie is giving a thumbs up here, and Anne is saying, hopefully it doesn't get any worse. But I think this is where we're asking people to try and do what they got to do to help themselves instead of just putting everything on the government. And this is how this came to fruition. But there are positive, negatives, and there is a lot of unspoken reality behind all of this. And I've never just brought the issues. I always do my best to bring some balance to what I'm presenting. So here in Cayman, let's look at all of those sides, because the challenging and the part we really say out loud is really what is happening on the ground. And to understand micro entrepreneurship and why it is rising, we have to understand inequality in Cayman. And my brothers and sisters who are tuning in regionally as well, and maybe you may find this even around the world, my UK friend, my UK friends, what it looks like, how it feels, and how it even impacts everyday households. Now, here's the positive side of it. Let's start with that. What is working with it? It is positive entrepreneurship because in this case, it helps Cayman's economy. And we know that our economy right now is resilient. The gross domestic product growth remains strong based on the numbers. That is from the national perspective. And micro businesses are helping Caymanians build independence, preserve our culture, hopefully, and diversify income streams, which means if that is a way out, we should have less persons depending on the DFA for assistance, right? In some cases, that's not in all the cases. And then it shows where Caymanians then are innovative, resourceful, and determined. Also, micro entrepreneurship is another thing that shows a sign where it empowers individuals to create opportunities instead of waiting for them to just drop on their lap. They're innovative. They help themselves. They're not waiting for a handout. And also, the positive side is that it strengthens communities' networks and create opportunities that probably you never even saw coming. And what it also does, it puts people in the position to support local, buy local, and also uplift one another. Everybody then is happy. But guess what? It's not always tulips and roses, blue skies without any clouds, because there's also a negative side. The pressure that people feel that push them to this. And many a times, they're not even worried about being regulated. They are just focused on doing for themselves, keeping the lights on, avoid going into foreclosure, avoid repo, and doing what they got to do. But it's nothing untoward. They just got to do what they got to do. Again, a man have to eat. You got to respect them. It is what it is. The negative side, really and truly, is the economic pressures that people are facing, okay? And many micro businesses are born out of financial strain, not all the time passion. That's just the truth. And what the Economics and Statistics Office information shows that rising inflation, stagnant wages, and also rising housing costs that outpaces income. We see where licensing fees and stamp duty costs can be barriers for small business entrepreneurs. And also, we're seeing where there is burnout, because that is real. People are getting anxious. Stress is killing people. No matter what you do, it's like you're only getting, final notice, disconnection notice, past due. People work full-time and run side businesses to keep up. That's the negative side, and that is what's happening when you see people actually then look at other income streams. But the unspoken reality about all of this and the Cayman inequality takes us a step further. This is not about loom and gloom. This is just exactly as I called it, the unspoken reality. Yeah, Cayman inequality. This isn't about dividing people. No, it's not. It's really about understanding the economic gap that is very much existent in our islands and how it impacts and affects everyday Caymanians. I know many are trying to get a little business. They're trying to be above the board, and based on certain type of businesses, they're waiting, they pay express fees, they're waiting weeks on top weeks, can't get the license. That is eroding away of all of their upfront investments, injection cost. But to be legal, they got to wait. They're doing everything they can to help themselves, but they got to wait for the process to go through. And that's just one of many examples. And sometimes bureaucracy in a system can cause people to do things to save themselves in order to survive. They have no intentions of breaking the Trade and Business Law, the Environmental Health Act law, nothing. They have no intentions. And it's not like they don't have the necessary applications in. But the rigor, the bureaucracy, the red tape that the little man is now facing, they are almost speechless, and they're saying, my back is against a wall. It seems as though everything we're trying to do, the odds are stacked against us. Everything that I'm doing to keep out a DFA, to keep the lights on, it's like there's something, regulatory process, that even if you do everything, it is still taking forever for me to get an answer. And then there's always other questions digging deeper and deeper that sometimes make you scratch your head. These are personal stories that have been shared. Okay? So the income inequality is real, the gap between earnings. And we have information and statistics locally that proves that. With our GDP of US 80,000 per capita, but median Caymanian wages have not kept pace with inflation. And again, it proves it. Many households report that their salaries no longer cover even the basic living costs. We have persons that are holding big jobs, decent jobs in our very own government, 2-income households, and are finding it hard to make ends meet, and they've done nothing wrong. They're not living the life of the Joneses. They're not out splurging. They just are finding it hard. And what this do with the income inequality and gaps between earnings is that this creates a gap between high-income earners, middle-income earners, and Caymanians are feeling squeezed. Individuals who find, let's not put a label on it because everybody feeling this. Let's not label it a Caymanian thing. Because even if you don't have your status yet and you're living here, whatever the case may be, you're feeling it here, okay? This is happening globally, but small island development states are feeling it that much more. Aliano is confirming that he's like that. It doesn't care what you do. It's like your dollar is not giving you the distance it is giving you. I shared the personal story with you on Saturday or Friday, and I'm still trying to figure out what I picked up. I know what I picked up because the receipt is not wrong. But you know it's bad when the cashier looked at you and said, oh my God, Miss Sabrina, and you don't even have food in there. I was just picking up laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, basic necessities. $300 later. To be exact, $355 later. Yeah. And when the cashier gonna look and say, but ma'am, you don't have anything in there to eat? Like, they were baffled. Yeah. So, Aliano, I feel your pain. All of us are feeling our pain. But the cost of living inequality, the pressure on households that we're all feeling. Inflation peaked around 9%. Food inflation reached 12 to 18%. That's what I was seeing and feeling on that receipt. Utilities themselves by double-digit percentages. But yet, our island's economy is still very strong, but the household comforts are shaking. Let me tell you something. And I smiled to myself, and it even endorsed the fact why I should have had this conversation tonight even more. And I know she wouldn't mind, but to show you where you say that people aren't trying to do what they have to do to conserve, I visited a house last night, an immediate family. And I said, but hold on, the car is here, but no lights are on. I said, it's not making any sense. So I called one family member. I said, have you spoken to so-and-so today? Yeah, I left them home. I said, oh, really? Well, the car is here, but I don't see any lights on. Called another family member. Hey, is this person with you? No. What happened? I left her home. I said, well, I'm here. The car is here, but no lights are on. So, of course, I called. They called me back. They didn't answer it the first time because they were on another call. I said, well, are you at home? Yeah, child. Turn off all the lights to burn the AC. I mean, we had a big laugh out of it, but that only endorsed exactly what I'm saying here today. It's not like people aren't trying. It's not like people aren't making the necessary adjustments. But it's like it's a runaway train, and we still, the comforts of our home is still being shaken. And there are many of us out there right now, many persons amongst us. You don't have to talk your business, but I know a lot of you are making the necessary changes. You're trying to change, maybe a little uncomfortable. You have to push that AC up a little bit more. You're telling the kids, look, you can't do this anymore. Cut back on that, different things. But that was a real life experience that I encountered with an immediate family just yesterday. They were fine because the first thing came to mind, oh my God, I hope nothing is wrong, yada, yada, yada. And then they called me back. But then on the other side, there's some who just don't care, living life like the Joneses, still planning all these big trips, still going to get this summer loan, Christmas is coming. And you're like, hold up. At what point are you going to realize things around you is changing and you cannot expect to live the life that you were living 3 to 5 years ago? And you got issues right now. The bills are not going to go away on vacation if you're behind by 2-3 months. You could come back and they could still be outstanding. And these are where people have to make some sound financial decisions, prioritize, because it's not going to go away. It is not going to go away. And when we look then at the other section of this whole discussion of wealth concentration, right? Yeah, what am I talking about? Cayman is wealthy, but wealthy is concentrated, meaning a small portion of the population holds a large share of the assets. It's not equalized. And many Caymanians feel like outsiders in this economy. And what we're also identifying is that the middle class that they're saying is pretty much evaporating is under some serious pressure. Yes. Aliano is weighing in. I need to re-listen to the Sanders show this morning. Ms. Dukaran stated that the average Caymanian was making $7,000 a month. That gave me whiplash. Oh, in order to survive. Yeah. Oh, yes. I implore anybody to revisit that show, number one. And you can also go on Ms. Dukaran's page, because she shared some serious information as well that I think a lot of us would find very relevant to what the realities we are facing right now. Do not blame the messenger. The lady used information. She's an economist, right? She studies this stuff. She collects the data. She cleans it up, and she could do forecasting on it that could give projections of our quality of life, standards of life, and see exact trends and patterns. Don't shoot the messenger. From that data, then leaders can be brutally honest with their citizens and make decisions based on the forecast. But the key is to be aware, and based on trends, forecasts, and you're seeing certain things play out right now. You can't say that she has not been warning, because I have read other reports that she's presented, and the lady's findings has been spot on. Now, with everything else that has changed the dynamics, post-COVID, geopolitical tensions, there's the mere fact that we're a small island development state in itself that comes with its own share of challenges. Importation of pretty much everything. We're reliant on fossil fuels and all that sort of stuff. We're relying, our population is at its lowest, our indigenous people. We're not having our own people, our own Caymanians fast enough to outweigh of us being a service-based economy. Then guess what? Who are we lying to? Ourselves when it comes to imported labor, the skill sets that is needed based on the economy that has been created, whether by design or naturally. The information that she's sharing is priceless. So Aliano, yeah, I can tell you, I was like Miss Brenda comment about the cockroach fighting roosters. Yes, I saw that here, that she shared that with us. She said, cockroaches mustn't get into rooster fights. He'll get picked to death. There we go. So at the end of the day, my love, I can only encourage persons to follow her and tune in whenever she has. You may think it's boring, but when you look at the realities that are happening in our very own economy, in our very own households now, when you're trying to scratch your head, like Andiano is saying, he feels that same way, that no care how hard you work, it's like you can't get out of this hole of debt, that in many cases you're cutting back on everything, you're doing everything right, and you still can't seem to make that extra dollar give you the distance. When you put all of this information together, you educate, you understand what is being placed before you, you're in a better position to make the necessary acceptance, come to the realities of what's before you, and then you have to make the decision to change or make the adjustments in order to survive. Otherwise, guess what? You're going to end up being in a train wreck, and you can't expect other people to bail you out. Because if the signs and signals are there, and you continue to repeat and continue to pretty much live a lie, what do you think is going to happen? You can't expect your friends, your neighbors to bail you out. No. A lot of the times, a harsh reality with oneself is needed. You see where he could put his money on. That's why some, you know where I'm going with this now. 7,000 a month means a lot of Hennessy. Maybe that's why you're in debt right now. Aliano, oh my God, you know how much that could buy? But no, on a serious note, sound financial planning and to prepare, it's not the amount that you make, it's the amount you save and how you budget, Aliano. There's nothing wrong with you having, maybe you used to having 2 drinks when you go out, maybe cut it back to 1. It may get to the point where you just say, look, I just cannot even afford to go out, period, because I need to get caught up. So what other people says? You see this one continuing to go on family vacation and you make that decision that you can't afford it because you have competing priorities. Do not keep up with the Joneses. You are responsible for your own household. And what's happening in our economy, what's happening right now is real. And yes, as Andrew alludes to all the time, we got to brace for impact. Micro entrepreneurship, people are finding themselves doing it. That's not people that doesn't have ambition. That's people who are adjusting their sales accordingly and making sure that they are going to survive whatever wave this is. But they're not going to depend on government's handout. They're not going to depend on other family for handout. They're going to do whatever it takes in order to stay afloat. And that is why human beings are resilient people. But there's also a section in this of the unspoken realities, and it's called economic mobility, the challenge of moving up, because there is hope. Yeah. Upward mobility is limited for many of us locals. We see it. It's like you just can't get there, but there's some really good success stories out here. You're hearing the nightmares and stuff of what a lot of us are facing in the workplace, in the environment, even when you create job opportunities for yourself. The bad mind, the competition, the covetousness, the blackballing is real. And it's pretty sad. Promotions, wages, growth lag behind because of cost increases, which is something that is happening in the environment at the time. But a lot of the times, many of you have shared stories that it's by design. It is by design. And then that begs the question, are we creating hardships on each other because of greed and power, favoritism? I asked that question. Yeah. Because also following under economic mobility is people feel stuck. They feel like they're in a hole with no advancement. Aliano is saying it himself. And so many of you are probably saying the same thing. Micro entrepreneurship, my friends, becomes a path of some sort of independence. But many a times, you get your little business going, and those that you think are going to support you are the last ones to show up on your door. You do what you got to do. Believe in your product and go forth in making your income legally. Don't look at the next door neighbor. Don't look at the Joneses. They're going to throw shade probably at you at times. That's all right. You paddle your own canoe. It will work out for you at the end of the day because it says that you're in tune. You're in tune with the reality. You're in tune with what's happening in the environment. And you know what? Many a times, in lean times like these, lend my little 50 now. Lend my little 25 now. Sorry. I'm not in any position at this time to help. No is a complete sentence, and you don't have to justify your answer for no. No, you don't have to give a reason why you say no. Okay? But there is the unspoken emotional reality to all of this as well. Because as a lot of our locals looks wealthy, Caymanian looks wealthy, so people feel ashamed to admit that they're struggling. We go out, we put on a beautiful smile, we wear the red bottom shoes, even if we had to paint them red. We use the handbags that has the brand and nothing in there. In our fridge, you can play football in it. Because of pride. There's nothing wrong with that. Many families quietly rely on side hustles to survive, and they're even scared. They will tell you straight up, who? Me? Pump gas? Who? You ain't gonna see me pumping in the gas. Me? Go and ask Woody for a cashier job? You crazy? I ain't doing that. Really? Yeah. Why are we ashamed? Is it because we look down at people for making an honest living? I said it here. I am not ashamed to go and do any job that is legal. I make plenty of jokes, and for those who know me, I tell them I'd go on a particular page. For those who know me, that's just a lighthearted moment. But that's just fun and jokes aside. But you think I am scared if things get to the point that it not making ends meet to go and stand up behind a cash register, and check people out for some sort of income? I don't even have a problem pumping gas. But it's how society would look at you. The first thing you gonna say or hear say, Christ, look at her. Look at her. That wasn't the same one that run and lost politics in Prospect, and this is what she doing? Oh my God. She working Foster's, or she working at a restaurant waiting tables? Yeah. Not realizing that all I'm doing, with all I have to bring to the table, that many a times promotions, inaccessible access to promotion, job opportunities, even contracts could be designed to keep you out, but somebody who's willing to give you a chance, then the very same society looks at you and cry you down, knowing that you're worth much more than what you're doing. But at the end of the day, you have no shame in doing what you're doing because it's an honest living. It's better than breaking into somebody's house. It's better than stealing. Somebody's giving you a chance. And that is some of the unspoken reality of our very own society. And this is why it is not good to judge. I am not ashamed to do anything as long as it's legal. As long as it's legal. But again, downside of being a small island developing state. Live Happy is joining us this evening. Hello, my friend. How are you? They're commenting and saying micro businesses makes matters worse when they take out work permits. I know one worker because the employer could not pay him or have enough work. Please do it. Please don't do it. Sole trader means do it yourself. And this is another thing where we're looking at, as I digress a little bit there, that it's so easy now for us to get these trade and business licenses as Caymanians. A lot of them are using these trade and business license and operating as brokers, providing laborers because they know that they don't have work for the people to do. And that's now going to be another area that I'm quite sure in short order our government may have to look at regulating, because if that is what's happening, unintended consequences. It came with good intentions, but again, bad behaviors, bad practices, not everybody upholding the law. Not everybody will behave the same. And this is what you have. Barbara G is also weighing in and saying, get back to having family and friends over. Have picnics, go fishing instead of bars. I've seen some persons out complaining about their high light bills. Really? Why are you out drinking? My point. Competing priorities. You hit the nail on the head, Miss Barbara. And this because you want to keep living this lie. Instead of looking at the reality for what it is, and you're out trying to keep up with the Joneses. So what if this year you couldn't afford a summer vacation? So what? The pressure is silent, it's consistent, and it's exhausting trying to be someone you're not. Inequality isn't just numbers. It's stress, fear, and definitely uncertainty. Yeah. But as we continue to look at the environment, looking and facing the realities that is before us, everything that we have shared here, all of this is why we see micro entrepreneurship on a rise. because of everything that I have pointed out. Because of everything. Miss Barbara Live Happy is saying we should give you a kaboom. Yeah. And you know, it's really at the end of the day boiling down to adaptation to the environment. And it's Caymanians really and persons creating their own safety nets in an economy that is strong on paper, but tight for many households. Because if you dig deep into a lot of the households right now, it will blow your socks off exactly what's really happening. And we still got to be responsible for ourselves. Well, just like that, it is 7:00. OMG, how time flies. Well, I look forward to having another discussion with you tomorrow. Time did not permit this evening, but I got some pictures that were shared with me of the area that came up into the discussion yesterday. We spoke about that. Oh God, I'm having one of those premenopausal moments now. That forest. Yeah. I got some pictures of the area that is now being questioned, that was on hold for 20 years. I have some pictures that were shared with me, and I'll bring that topic back up tomorrow. Beautiful pictures, by the way. And thank you for sharing those with me. And I got a little backstory as well that was shared with me about that place back in the day, but I'll share with you tomorrow. But beautiful images, and we'll bring that up tomorrow, along with, again, open mic season continues on Sabrina Speak tomorrow. And I welcome you to call in and participate, have some laugh at one another, have some jokes. And Alfred, I don't know where he is. I wonder which duster he's chasing today, but he was very, very the ironwood forest. Yeah, that's it. That's it, right? Yeah. Anyhow, I will have the pictures of it. I'll get all of my information ready for you tomorrow, and I'll share those with you and anything else that pops up. But I welcome your feedback. I thank you for your continued participation, and I thank you for continuously showing up, calling in and participating, and let's having some good laughs together. Yeah, so Aliano, for this $7,000 a month in order to survive in the Cayman economy, wow, that would be a dream now, wouldn't it? But we can see where a big chunk of yours would be going. Just fun and giggles with you here. Please do have a good evening. Please be safe on the roads. And if you get some weird calls asking you for information, just hang up. Make them speak to Mr. Tone. Good night. Stay blessed. Love you lots. See you tomorrow.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.